Thank you so much for joining in. For those of you that are joining in, please just kindly mute your mic as soon as you join the lesson so that it does not distract the others. So, as we have already started, this lesson or this course is about leadership, and that is basic leadership in the church. How to be a better leader, how to improve your leadership styles for those of you that are already in leadership and for those that are aspiring to be leaders as well in the future. This is so that we better and ensure that our leadership is perfected in the church, so that we don't end up hurting people, we don't end up causing harm than we should actually be doing, which is building. So we are going to be getting into today's lesson, and we are continuing where we left off. Today we are dealing with the different responsibilities of a leader, and we will get to a clear breakdown of what goes into a leader's responsibility in the local house or in the church. Some of these responsibilities, for an example, authority, planning, organizing, and control, some of these that we find in this lesson, we will even get to use it even outside the walls of church. It's just to simplify, or in simple terms, it's just to better you as a leader, not only as a Christian leader in the house, but as a leader holistically. So we are now on page 17. For those of you that will be tracking with me on the slides, we are on page 17. So we are going to be getting, first of all, responsibilities of a leader, just to refresh for those of us that were not in the previous lesson. So we spoke and dealt with what are responsibilities that the leader has in the church. First of all, a leader is a person with authority. So this is us defining a leader. A leader is a person with authority. And which authority, if you are asking? There's authority to plan, authority to organize, authority to control, and furthermore, to influence the success of the vision. This is the vision of the local house or the vision of the church, because we are dealing with leaders in the church. So your responsibility as a leader, if you're given maybe, let's say, a responsibility, or you are given a department, one of your main responsibilities, it comes with authority. So authority simply means that you can change anything or come up with anything that betters the department. For an example, if it happens that maybe you are in the catering team department in the local church, chances are you are responsibility and have your responsibility, or part of the authority you have is choosing what are we going to eat in the next conference. So as a leader, you have the authority to first of all say that this is what we have as the menu. This is you planning now. You organize how many people are we going to be needing for the planning, and how many people are we going to be needing for the cooking, how many pots, and so forth and so on. And similarly, we can take it a bit further and say you also get to control. What time do we cook? All of those other things, all the logistics relating to the course or the department that you are responsible for. And that is basically what a leader is responsible for. You are responsible for planning. So should it happen that a department is falling apart, we look at the planning, and obviously we look at the leader. Are you organizing well? Do you have influence over the people that you are leading? And control-wise, how are you leading the people as well? So now that we've covered that part, what is authority for one that can ask, or one that is asking? Authority, in simple terms, authority was covered on the previous lesson, but authority is you being given the power to change, control, and decide on anything. So in simple terms, that is what authority is. So as a leader, when you are placed in leadership, we are simply saying you have authority over this over this department that we've given you, over this task that you've given you. But the main goal is to ensure that this that we've given you is running, and it's running well, and it is running successfully. So that is what authority entails, or what goes into authority. And then secondly, what is a plan? For those of you that are asking, how do I go about with the planning, or where do I even start with the planning, or what is a plan to even begin with? First of all, a plan, we can refer to a plan as a detailed process to achieving goal. What is a plan? a detailed process to achieving goal. If it happens that we are planning a trip to Durban, for an example, and we have to put a plan in place, first of all, we need to know which mode of transport are we using. Are we flying to Durban? Are we driving to Durban? And if we are, is it a 4-seater? Is it a 7-seater? And how many people are we taking there with us? Part of the planning also includes how much are we going to need for toll gates should it happen that we are going to be using a vehicle as a mode of transport. So that is what goes into planning. Us ensuring that our trip to Durban is a success. This is toll gates, this is food on the way, this is how many filling stations do we have, how many full tanks do we need if it happens that we are traveling by road. That is what a detailed process is. But the main goal is getting to Durban. And secondly, what is a plan? As a leader, you need to plan for your team. First of all, what is the vision of the team that you are leading? And if a leader, if you find yourself being unable to describe the vision of the team that you are leading, then we have a problem. You need to first of all identify, or rather be able to answer what is the vision for this particular team that I'm leading. But ensure that when you're in a local church, you need to align your vision to the vision of the church. So whatever vision that you come with should not be contrary to the vision of the church. We'll make an example with IAM Worship, for an example, because that is one of the departments I'm leading at church. In the music department, we do understand that our vision in the local church is restoring nations to the kingdom of God, and similarly, we want to eventually have our own, we have our own property, and so forth and so on. So whatever that we plan is in sync with the church's vision, and being in sync simply means as well that it needs to be in line with the calendar of the church. It's a conflict of interest thing if we happen to find ourselves planning a worship service on the very same date that the church is maybe celebrating 10 years or 11 years in ministry. So it's very, very important that as you are planning for your team, you also align with the vision of the church. And C, a plan allows people to be involved in the process. So when you plan in the process, it allows those that you are leading to also be part of the process. If it happens that maybe we are planning, let's say, a conference, for an example, and you are part of the administration team, you are part of the coordinating team, you having people under you will simply mean that obviously you'll need to delegate so that we ensure that this thing runs smoothly. So part of planning ensures that everyone in the team is now part of the bigger vision and is helping us with carrying the vision. So it's very, very important that you try and delegate tasks as a leader in the local church so that you get the people that you are leading to also be part of this that you are leading as well. You don't want to be leading people and they are left behind and you're moving alone. And we also mentioned this in the previous lesson that in order for us to deem you as a leader, you need to have followers. You need to have people under you that you are leading in order for you and your position to have an impact in the church. D, a basic leadership plan includes recruiting, includes building, and appointing. We refer to it as RBA. So when it comes to recruiting, how many people do you need in your team? If it's the ushering department, judging by the scale of the church or the number that we have in the church of total membership, how many ushers do you need? Is it 15? Is it 20? Is it 30? And now that we have established that part, we need to work on the recruitment part. How do we recruit? Do we go for members that are already in the church and they're not serving? Or do we focus on those that are serving in other departments, but the departments don't require much effort from them? For an example, I will maybe use the media department, whereby in as much as you might be doing a certain thing in the media, because I know that it's very vast, you might not be needed present the whole entire service. So are we using those people, Or are we using people that do not have any department serving under? But it all lies on you, on a leader. Recruitment differs from one leader to another and one department to another. And secondly, how do you build? How do you build? And with building, with us, the music side, this includes your workshop, this includes your music seminars, vocal trainings, and all of that. I'll make an example. Our church, I'll keep on mentioning it because I am from IAM Church. But as I did advise, a lot of us have different ways in which we run our ministries and run ministries in different churches. So in our church, our music department was not as good in terms of the quality that we are producing. It was so bad that half the time after we get off stage, Pastor D would have to start again and sing from scratch just to lift the atmosphere. Because not only were we bad, we also did not understand our role in the church. For us, it was just singing. But it's these seminars, it's these group sessions, it's these music workshops that we constantly hosted and constantly attended that somewhat opened our view of what the worship ministry requires in the local church. And it's only after we got to that point of understanding our responsibility in the church and what is required from us in every service that we began to excel and take our work seriously. So this is what goes into building. So it differs. With the ushering department, it might not be as intense as the music team. With the media team, it might not be as intense as the ushering team. But as a leader, you need to work on the building part. The building part is where now you are equipping your people, you are giving your people as much information as they can, you are taking them to seminars. Every now and then, there is prayer sessions, there's fasting, there's whatever, because you're trying to build the team and make sure that it is solid as possible, so that at the end of the day, what the department is required, or what is required of the department in the church, is ultimately reached. And then lastly, you appoint. What do you mean by appointing? So with appointing, you might be a leader, yes, but who's your assistant? Do you have a secretary in the team? Do you have a treasurer? Should it happen that maybe you're a team that maybe every now and then you go out, which is part of building. Sorry, I missed that part. So in the building, we also include the outing. We need to know each other. There's team building. There's braais, there's whatever. But all of this we do so that we can be comfortable around each other. It's part of building the team. So with appointing, you need someone that's going to assist you with how do we plan for all of these things should it happen that now it's time for us to eventually host these things. Are we still together? Are we clear on that part? We can just show on the group with show of hands or show with the show of hands on the call, so that we can just see if we are still together, then we can move. Thank you, Lolo. Thank you, Sis Nosisa. Thank you, Evangelist Nsigi. Thank you. So majority has commented in the shown with the show of hands on the call, so we can move. Thank you so much for the hands. So we are still breaking down how planning goes when you are in a department. We are now on the appoint part. Find people that help you carry the vision. Find people that will simplify things for you. And then point E says you also need a plan to recruit and train your team. I believe we've touched on that. We even made an example about IAM worship, where it started and where we are right now. It's all because of recruitment and training. You need to find people that will carry the vision with you. And you need to train these people to carry the DNA of the church that you are under. And similarly, to understand the vision of the department that they are under. And then F, there is spiritual building through ministry classes that we've mentioned as well. There's also similarly team building. And with team building, this is done through your outings, this is done through your braais, this is done through your picnics and your ice skatings and so forth and so on. It all depends. It all depends on which one exactly the team is more comfortable with. Because if it happens that the team that you are leading consists of elderly people, there's no way that you can take them for ice skating. So it varies from one team to another. It varies from one team to another. But it's very, very important that we celebrate as well birthdays. It gives people some sense of belonging and also shows them that we care about them more than the gift and what they are bringing. If it happens that there is graduates in the team, let's celebrate them. It's as easy as buying a cupcake. It's as easy as contributing towards a cake or just getting a card and saying from the leader and the team. This shows people that outside of every other thing that you are doing for the ministry, we are very, 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 very mindful as well of your well-being, and we care for your well-being. And that is it for planning. So now, what is God's plan for your life? Now that we've spoken about the plan in church, we've spoken about the planning in the team and how you go about. What is God's plan for your life? Because at the ultimate end, we are in a local church and we are Christians. So be it outside in corporate, be it wherever, you similarly need to prosper. But what is God's plan for your life? First of all, God requires you to be fruitful. He wants you to succeed in what you do. He wants you to also produce. So meaning that whatever that He has trusted you with, He wants you to multiply it from one to whatever as well as you can. And then B, He wants you to multiply, which is increase and grow. And C, He wants you to replenish, which is fill the earth, and that is God's will for your life. We are going to be reading Genesis 9, verse 1 to verse 1, Genesis 9, 1 and 9. So it reads as follows. First of all, and God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. And then we are on verse 9. Now behold, I'm establishing my covenant, binding agreement, solemn promise with you and with your descendants after you. So this is God's promise. We see God's promise in the first thing in the book of Genesis. And the first thing that God wanted this generation when He planted them in the book of Genesis is for them to be fruitful and to multiply and furthermore fill the earth. So the very same promise and the very same wish that God had in Genesis is the very same one that He still wants for your life. And not only be fruitful and multiply and replenish when it comes to ministry. No, even in your career, God wants you to excel. Even in your health, God wants you to excel. In every avenue and every area of your life, God wants you to succeed. Hence, as children of God, we need to be very, very intentional when it comes to investing in ourselves to ensure that we succeed. It's not all of us that will go the academic route. It's not all of us that will go the ministry route. It's not all of us that will find ourselves in business. But in whatever talent that God has trusted you with, you need to be fruitful, you need to multiply, and you also furthermore need to replenish, fill the earth, furthermore. And then now we're getting into the last point, how to organize. 2.3, leaders arrange and prepare to achieve goals. So that is the first point. Our arranging is to ensure that we achieve goals. So how you arrange and the effort you put in arranging will somewhat determine how the goal is achieved. Is it achieved with a 90% pass, 100% pass, or exceptionally well, or just below the bare minimum? It all depends on what you put in before we get to the ultimate end. And then B says, we're on page 18 now, every meeting and activities need to be organized. So from every activity, we need to organize it. If it happens that maybe we are having a meeting just to debrief for the year, when is the meeting happening? What time is the meeting happening? Is it online? Is it in person? It's in the small details. You need to also communicate the tasks and expectations in advance. So you with your team members, they need to know that, okay, now that this is coming in the future, I need this from you on this date, and this is how I need it from you. Not on the day of the event, not on the day of the meeting. We can only make an exception if it happens that the initial one that was tasked is maybe running late, or it happens that for whatever reason you had to step in, but you need to plan each and every single time. And after you've communicated expectation, each person in the team needs to know their role. They need to know what their role is, so that we don't find ourselves fighting for position because last week you asked me for this and this week you are asking for. Everyone needs to know what their responsibility is in the team. Starting and ending time is important in organizing. We need to know what time are we starting and what time are we finishing. In everything that we do, we should have excellence in our heads. Not, it's starting at 8, but we are not sure. We'll see what time it ends. In my experience, even where church is related, if you're inviting someone to church and you start by saying, it's from 9 till late, or 9, we're not so sure what time it's finishing, chances are they might not end up coming, because some people are organized. They need to know from what time to what time do you need me there. If it happens that it will overlap, then it means that I won't be able to make it because I have a commitment after. So it's very, very important that even in the team, they know what time is rehearsal. Are we rehearsing for 3 hours? Are we rehearsing for 4 hours? Not the mentality that we have, most of us in black churches, we continue as we go. We need to know what time are we starting, what time are we finishing. Very, very important. And also in that, set realistic targets for your team. Very, very realistic targets. We cannot start speaking, we want to record a single and be like a certain group and be like Maverick City, but we're still struggling with being on key. I'm just making an example because that is the field that I'm in. We cannot set goals that are way above and out of this world while we still need to have a few things fixed within the team. So whatever goal you set, it needs to be very, very clear. Very, very clear. That way it's easy for us to be able to follow as well as people under you. And half the time, if not 90% of the time, if the goal is as clear and as realistic, we end up accomplishing it. But it starts by you, the leader, being very intentional and being very serious and driven about this that you've said, and the rest will follow. And then leaders organize by follow-ups. This is your reporting and your planning. Whenever you give someone a task, you need to report back. How far are we? How well are we tracking? And then lastly, when do you meet to give reports? You need to have those dates. Who do you report to? Is it you? Is it your assistants? What do you report on? If it happens that maybe it's an organization or a department that needs reporting. But we strongly recommend that every department has a reporting system. If it's an ushering department, how many tissues do you need for this month? How many were we able to get funding from the church on? Do we need any sponsors when it comes to tissue or those cloths that we use when we're ushering people? In the sound department, do we have enough cables to run a service? How many cables need fixing? It's those things that we report on. The word reporting does not mean that you have to report on things that you are not even responsible for. No, it's within what you are tasked for, what you are responsible for within the team. Still clear? Perfect. And when it comes to recommendation, we recommend weekly briefings and monthly reports. That way we know how did we deal and track this month, what do we need to improve on, and so forth and so on. And then because we've spoken about what a leader is, we've spoken that authority, there's planning, there's organizing, there is control. Now we're getting into the control part. How do you control? How do you control? We don't want to end up controlling people's lifestyle outside church that are not even relating to the ministry that they are responsible for. First of all, how do you control? To influence, first of all, you need to influence people's behaviors. You need to win their trust. Your team must believe in your leadership. As a leader, you need to have a team that believes in your leadership. If you still have people that you are leading thinking that you are not so capable, half the time the team might not even take any of the instructions that you bring. If it happens that maybe we are in a setup of, let's say we are in the prayer team and you have clear instruction that every Wednesday we are fasting and praying, if you are unable to influence people, if you are not seen as a leader, it will be difficult for these people to follow. So it's very, very important that you win them over with their trust. And with winning trust, it goes beyond the department itself. Are you able to take someone's weaknesses and keep them with you? Are you able to hold someone's hand in their weakest moment and be like, this stays with me, we'll pray through it and we'll see through it that the Lord sees us through? Are you able to step in as a leader and say, yes, ABCD is lacking in your personal life? It might be financially, it might be small things like transport money to work. Are you able to be trusted with such things? And it's only when people are able to trust you enough and see that there is a human aspect outside you being a leader for the prayer team, people are going to be able to follow when you lead, because they know your heart. They are very, very comfortable with you. And they know that whatever that you decide is for their benefit. You have them at interest. Your heart is in a pure and a right state because they've seen you and they trust you enough outside leading. And then B, you need to keep your word and deliver on your promises. Starting with always being on time for meetings and programs. So you cannot tell us to arrive at 8 and then you arrive 30 minutes later or an hour later. We are not going to take you serious as the people that we are leading. So you need to ensure that you adopt the culture of keeping your word. We always hear it being thrown loosely in English term, monkey sees, monkey does. Similarly in leadership as well. We need to see it from you. Show us, give us the blueprint in order for us to be able to follow suit as well. And you need to communicate well. Speak up, get responses from the people and agreement and all of that, then we move. If there's something that needs you to maybe explain further or someone is not clear on something, have room and space for people to come through and people to raise concerns if there's any. D, respond to messages and communicate if you are late. We have leaders that have a tendency, I for one, to be delivered from that as well. There's a point in time where I felt that there's no need for me to reply to your text if you're going to be texting me an hour later that, I won't be able to make it. Emotion used to get the better of me. That I will accept. I would get to a point whereby, I've seen your text, but let me just leave it on blue tick. There's no need for me to reply now. What am I going to do an hour later? But I get, with growth and with maturity, you get to understand that as we dealt with baby Christian, disciple, teacher, there's different faces to Christianity and different people that we are leading. Some are still babies in the faith. Some are still trying to get into the discipleship stage, but all of them are equally important. So you need to exercise patience based on the level of this person that you are leading. Some are still on a milk level, so you need to be very, very patient with them. Pet them every now and then. Get them something after they do something good and just pat them on the shoulder and be like, you've done it, let's go. And that is how you keep them with you. And some are disciples. Yes, you can address things with them, but not so harsh in your approach. But some now are on a leadership level, on a teacher level, and you are able to be as brutal as you can, but gracefully with love, and they're still able to take it. These are Christians that are on a meat level. So as a leader, you need to be able to identify who's where in these phases. That way will allow you to be able to deal with them accordingly. So I was just making an example, speaking on the responding to messages. No matter how in your emotions or in your feels you might be able to respond when a message is sent to you. And communicate as well as a leader if you are late. There's no such thing as I'm a leader. No, you need to communicate it with your people that, today traffic is a problem. Today I arrived late. Or today I'm going to arrive late. Or today I have something that I need to attend to at work. Or my kid needs ABCD and I'm going to communicate it. They need to see from you that you are able to communicate and communicate well. That way, they are going to give you back that. They are going to communicate as well. So as a leader, it's very, very important that you influence. And how do you influence? You become a trendsetter. We must see through you that this is how ministry should be carried. This is how a Christian in this department should carry themselves. And it goes even to the certain things and the certain conversations that we allow as well as leaders. We must be able to influence people. They must be able to see that living a holy life is still fashionable, even in 2026 as a young person. But as a leader, it starts with you. You need to model it, and we will follow. Moving right along. People are busy and they forget about meetings. Create a reminder system. Example, send meeting reminders a day before, and it can be a day before, it can be a few hours after. Just like today, I believe a lot of you received invites or other reminders from Kwenga, because it's just the culture that we have, that if we have a meeting, if we have anything, we need to constantly remind people. People are busy. Sometimes it's easy as forgetting the time, that, oh, it's a Wednesday, but is it 8 or 7 or 7:30? But if we have a system of reminders, we know that, okay, at this time, I need to be here. I need to be logged in. I need to be stationary or connected, even if it happens that maybe I'm driving home still. Similarly, even in our departments, if it happens that you have a rehearsal, have a system that reminds people. If it happens that you're in the ushering department, you have cleaning rosters, let it be communicated and let reminders as follow-ups be sent as well. And then share responsibility of communication and reminders so that everyone will grow in their responsibility. Celebrate achievements publicly and correct secretly. Very, very important. When we celebrate you, everyone in the team must know that we are proud of you. We take pride in the fact that you bought a car, you started a new job. That's what family is about to begin with. But when it comes to mistakes, as a leader, you need to develop a system whereby you correct this person away from everyone. Yes, in as much as maybe the reproach or the punishment, everyone will publicly see that, oh, they're not singing for 2 weeks now, or are they not leading prayer for 2 weeks now? But you actually addressing it should be behind closed doors. Next person must not be able to hear and see and tell that this is how heated the meeting was. No, it needs to be done in secret, because we have team members that are still growing, as we did say, baby Christian. So some babies will take the very same laundry that we are airing in front of them and use it as a topic elsewhere, that, hey, let's come on, so you need to be very, 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 very mindful when it comes to how you address in the team. If it happens that it's conflict, call all the parties that are related, sit them down, do it with so much grace, but everything needs to be handled properly, not publicly. And then avoid shouting or embarrassing your team members. Doesn't matter if they are late and you are in your fields, you just want to tell them where to get off. Do not do it in public. At the end of the day, as we always say, people in the church are volunteers. None of them, if not majority of them, are on a payroll. So people have lives outside that might hinder sometimes in the way that they serve. So sometimes you're just shouting at a person about their late coming. You haven't even checked if maybe there's a transport issue, a traffic issue, or someone fell sick. So we need to be very, very cautious and mindful in the way that we also do our reproaching. And then G, teach before you shout. Explain before you get angry. Never be angry about something you never thought about. If you've never taught us about arriving late, do not be angry should you arrive at any time. And by teaching, we see in the way that you show up, are you arriving early, and do you preach it as well? So very, very important. And 2.5, we also on influencing. How to influence. 1 Corinthians 11 verse 1, be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. So there's Apostle Paul saying to the church that follow me as I follow Christ. In as much as, yes, I might be leading, Christ is the standard. Not any pastor, not any leader. Christ remains the standard. So A, pull, don't push. Lead by example. So do not lead from the back and you pushing us into a direction that you've not led us into. Take it from the front. Lead the way. Let us see from you. Let us see from you. As the Moses of this particular department, let us see from you that, okay, you are able to part the Red Sea. You are able to strike a rock and water comes gushing out. We must see it from you as a leader. We don't have to call you from the back that, hey, actually, Red Sea in front, come and help us out. You always need to be in the front row, always need to be leading, and we will see from you and follow suit as well. Lead by example. Be there first and let people in your team follow your action. A leader must grow in order to inspire others. And by growth is holistically. We must see your growth spiritually, because I believe that all of us on this call are Christians and we're trying to better ourselves as Christian leaders. Grow yourself spiritually. You cannot be struggling with unforgiveness, the very same one that you're struggling with 10 years back, but still you are still occupying the seat and expect us to forgive and pardon you when you do wrong. We need to see from you that you are growing, and the work, or rather Christ in you, is being formed and the word is changing you. This class is equipping you. Read leadership books and attend leadership seminars. It is your time to grow. Develop a one-on-one leadership style. Know your team members individually, on a personal level. Know who eats what, who drinks what, who doesn't like what. Don't end up bringing peanuts or nuts for me as a birthday gift only to find that I'm allergic. As a leader, you need to know all the finer details to your people. In as much as you might not remember everything, but you must know what does this person like? Where does this person come from? Where's home originally? You need to know all of these details when you are leading people. And going forward, invest on your team. This is coffee meetings, one-on-one discussions will also help you grow your influence. Very, very important. You grow with knowledge, and knowledge is by basically learning. This is according to Hosea 4 verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. You don't want it. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. So in everything that you do, Hosea 4 verse 6, be knowledgeable in that space. As a leader, be knowledgeable. If there's one thing that we can maybe a note or rather pinpoint in your leadership style, is this person knows this department like the back of his head. At the back of his head, rather. That this individual that is leading us knows the ins and outs of this that we are in. In as much as, yes, we learn every day, but the people that you are leading must believe in you so much as a leader that there's nothing that this person cannot do. The same faith that kids have in their moms and their dads growing up, that my dad is a superhero. The same mentality is what the people that you are leading should have when you are leading. They must be so confident in you that even if you bring something new, they know for a fact that this one, foods, he can do whatever and we get it done and it's done properly. And it all starts by what? It starts by you investing in knowledge. You ensuring that you learn this that you are in. And it's also biblical. Hosea 4 verse 6 is what should be at the back of your mind when you are leading. Whatever that I do, I must know it by heart before I take it to the team. And then 3, there are 7 ways to learn. First of all, there's reading, there's hearing, there's seeing, then there's seeing and hearing, there's discussion, there's experience, and there's also teaching others. And as per research, it advises here that reading contributes 10% to you remembering. So anything that you read, 10% chances are you might remember. And 20% is you remember things from hearing. 20% of the things that you hear, they stay in your head, they run in your head. And 30% speaks to seeing. So a 30% chance is whatever that you see, you will remember. That's why some of us are very good with faces, but we might not know names. It goes to the 30%. You remember what you saw better than what you read. And then also seeing and hearing as a combo contributes 50%. And then discussing like we are having now, should I open a call and we have a debate or open the floor? May you kindly just assist with muting the mic? Karabo, please assist us with muting your mic. Thank you. Perfect. So moving right along. When it comes to discussion, 70% of the time, 70% chance is that whatever you discussed, 70% you will remember. And then experience what you've lived and been through. Higher percent, which is 80%, you will be able to remember because you went through it. It was a life lesson. And then by teaching others, like I'm teaching you, we're breaking it down together, 95% chances are I will remember everything that we taught. From the very first class where we dealt with what goes into being a leader, defining a leader, it's very, very easy for me to remember because as per research, 90%, 95% rather, you will remember. And then before we close it up with the last few, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions or anything to add? Okay, perfect. There is a question here. I love the question, Tunzalo, that as part of leadership, shouldn't I ask the senior pastor before I take action? Yes, definitely. You need to pass it by your senior pastor. In as much as you might be given authority, you are given what we call shared authority. So I've given you 5% of the actual authority, not the entire authority. I'll make an example. If it happens that you have a child at home and you are going elsewhere and you leaving them in charge, you will leave them with the keys that please lock at this time. The gates must be locked at this time. Lights must be off at this time. Should it happen that for whatever reason this child decides that I'm having a guest over, or maybe I want to do whatever outside of what you tasked them, the first thing that they need to do is confirm and check. Is it okay if so-and-so comes for a sleepover? Yes, they do have the keys. They can do as they please. However, because it's not their house, they have what we call shared authority. They need to first confirm and check with mom, is it okay if so-and-so comes for a sleepover? Then as mom, you agree. So similarly as well in the church, in as much as we might be trusted with departments, we still are under authority. Some things, yes, you can do because they are within jurisdiction. For an example, which songs are you singing? What uniform are you wearing? You don't have to be stressing your pastor about that. But should it happen that it's big decisions like, hey, so-and-so is not pulling their weight, I think it's time we sit them down, you need to involve your pastor. Because at the ultimate end, you are responsible for this portion, but this individual is similarly as well, just like you, are under authority of the senior pastor. So to answer your question, it goes with what is the magnitude of what you are deciding on before you actually decide on it. Some things, yes, they must be ran through the pastor. And sometimes you're not running per se, but you are reporting back that in the team so far, we have such members, we'll be doing this in the next month. But when it comes to asking, it should be on these big things that actually need his intervention. But those that are within your authority, you can address without even involving the pastor. Did I answer your question, Tinzolo? Do we have any other questions before we move? Perfect. Thank you so much, Ma. I believe that we are sorted, but should you have any question, you know the drill by now. You can just drop it on the chat, and then we'll address it as we move. Now we are on 4, a basic leadership structure. So first of all, we need to have a leader, which is you on this call. We need to have an assistant leader. If it happens that maybe you are going home, you are going for a funeral, or you are not in town, you're not feeling well, who is able to lead on your behalf? So you need to be having an assistant leader. First of all, a leader is chosen by the pastor. An assistant is a support to this leader, which you choose. And then you need to have an administrator. There's one that has team infos, your birthdays, and everything that relates to the team. And then treasury, if we need to raise any funds to buy maybe matching outfits or to maybe for the next outing, anything that involves spending money, you need to have someone that keeps it for you. And lastly, marketing. This is someone that assists you with, for those that need it. It's not all department that needs. For an example, why are we marketing the ushering department? It depends on the department. So if we have, like, let's say, a music team in the church, who is responsible for ensuring that they lead us when we have a worship service? With marketing, with the image, what are we wearing? Which pictures are we putting on social media? It depends on the team. Depends on the team that you are leading. Some departments might have even more people under the leadership structure. Some might have less. It depends on the number of people you're leading and the type of the department that you are leading. And then to answer that as well, how to choose a leadership team. First of all, you appoint a leader by willingness to serve. Anyone that is willing to serve, you appoint them. But obviously you need to check the fruit. Is it someone that won't chase people away? Then you can appoint them to serve. A team without a leader will struggle to grow. A leader without leadership team will not be effective. So it's two-way. We need each other. First of all, if we have a team that does not have a leader, then we are heading for doom. Because everyone is just trying to get to the finish point, but we don't even know what the finish point is or what the vision is. Similarly, as a leader, without a leadership team will not be effective. Because what do you mean you're doing all of these things together and there's still a life that you have to live outside church? You might end up being burnt out and being ineffective. So you need to find people that lead with you that will help you carry this thing as well. A leader without a leadership team will not be effective. Make new people feel welcome in the team. This whole culture, we've been doing this long enough than you, it needs to stop. Everyone that is new is part of this team. As long as they have the same vision and mindset as us, we run with them, make them feel comfortable. And that is how people stay. And they'll also recommend others. That yes, you've been in church for 5 years, but please join ushering, or we are treated well there. So very, very important. As a leader, they need to adopt it from you. Monkey see, monkey does. We see it from you as you lead, that you are very welcoming of new people, and the people that you are leading will also follow. And then E, be interested in people's life more than their gifts. If someone comes to you and they're like, I'm not feeling well, the first question shouldn't be, okay, so will you be able to attend rehearsal? No, that shouldn't be the question. Are you okay? Is it something that we can do? Should we get you medication if you have the ability to? Should we get you medication? Or, okay, see you later. We'll pass by your place if you have the ability to. The first question shouldn't be, so when are we seeing you again? No, it should always be about their well-being. Because outside the gift, we need this person to be okay holistically, that is mentally, emotionally, and physically. That way they are able to perform at their utmost best. And then F, people join because of invites, but they stay because of friendship. The relationships they build in the team are the reasons why they stay. I, for one, I was very new in Pretoria in 2017 when I visited IAM Church. And the first thing that captured my heart is the fact that I was able to connect with half the people that spoke to me. That outside me just visiting, a lot of people just were interested to know where I'm from, what am I doing in Pretoria. People were just interested in having conversations with me. And from there, friendships were birthed. And it is because of that I stayed in the house. It's because of that I committed to the house. Not that there are not a lot of churches that one can find, especially for us musicians. We're always finding a church that is better, a church that can offer money, a church that can give you glitz and glam, a church that can put you on a platform, or a church that is streaming online. That way you can just find a fan base for yourself. But there's something that precedes all of these fleshy things. Being part of a family. The fact that you know people that know your birthday by heart. The fact that when it comes crumbling down, you can pick up a call and be like, hey, it's not going on for me. And that is what keeps a lot of people at church. So we must be very intentional when it comes to treating people right and building friendships with those that you receive in church. Your team must have a heart after God. A heart after God is a heart that is after people. Hence, he doesn't even mind leaving the 99 going for one. So similarly, having a heart of God means that we can stop at whatever end, even means we have to postpone rehearsal so that we can show up for umzelwane that has a need at this particular moment. Very, very important that we lead with a heart for God. And it's when we lead with the heart of God that those that are under us will also catch it as well and run with the very same heart. And then point 5, build relationships through fellowships. And that is through calls. Email sounds a bit formal, but you can send like appreciation emails on a formal letter with a letterhead, something like a certificate, thanking them for their participation for the year. SMSs for those of us that are still doing that. You can just send an SMS just to keep in touch and check if someone is okay, and so forth and so on. And also visit, make time. You need to know where your people stay. The people that I'm leading, for example, I know their homes personally. I know where so-and-so stays, in as much as we might not go every weekend, but I know where so-and-so stays. So it's very, very important that you develop that culture. And then go out with your people. Spend quality time with your team. That is for ice skating, your ice cream, even a braai at church, or a bring and share at church. It does not have to be anything responsible, anything expensive, but you need to find time for your people. And then lastly, things to look for in a team. First of all, we look for a heart after God, a heart that enjoys the presence of God. We don't want someone that's going to be bored by leadership talks. We don't want someone that's going to be bored by prayer. If you still have someone that is bored by prayer in your team, we still have a long way to go. The people that you are leading must enjoy the presence of the Lord. And you are the one that teaches them on how to get into the presence, how to stay there and not rush it. This 5 minutes prayers before rehearsal or 5 minutes prayers before every meeting, you need to develop a culture. Yes, I know that sometimes you are chasing time, but find a day in a month. Find 4 days in a month. And before you notice it, you develop a culture or a people that are always in the presence and enjoys the presence of the Lord. And then secondly, skill for your ministry work. We need people that are skilled. Unfortunately, that one is that we need people that are skilled. There are certain departments where we can train you, but there are certain departments where we need skill in order for you to function. The music team, for an example. We don't just want people that have a heart for God or no, we need skill. We need skill to save up on time. And we need accountability as well. And come on time and never be absent. Submission under authority and follow rules. And lastly, we need a team player. Learn to work with people. And in order for people to be able to work with you, or people to be able to also be team players, you as the lead need to show us what team playing looks like. You as a lead need to show us what it looks like to be part of a team that supports each other. And I believe that sums it up for today's lesson. Before we get into the question, let's just maybe get someone or a few people that have something to add on. Maybe let's shy away from the questions, but if you do have a question, you can still drop it on the chat.